This program proudly brought to you by Penthouse Essences, turning your daily shower into a daily luxury.
America mourns as children again fall victim to a schoolboy's gun. Trouble still on Jakarta's streets despite Habibie's reform vow, and a nail-biter as Rio State of Origin Rugby League returns.
From National 9 News, this is Nightline with Jim Waley.
Good evening. Shaken and shamed, America has again been confronted with a schoolyard shooting. A 15-year-old boy killing one student and wounding 23 others in the northwest state of Oregon. As well, the bodies of his parents were found in the boy's home. He'll be tried as an adult, but under state laws will not face the death sentence. Robert Penfold has our report.
A boy just 15 years old, heavily armed on the loose in a school and shooting to kill. An all too familiar American tragedy played out one more time today. The boy who died at the school was sitting alongside his girlfriend. She survived.
He was just shooting at everybody. He had no really certain emotion on his face. It was just like something he would do every day.
He acted like he had a fake gun, like a cap gun. He was just going...
It was 8 in the morning and the children at this Oregon school had gathered in the cafeteria when fellow student Kipling Kinkle burst in, armed with a rifle and 2 pistols, and started shooting.
Well, at first, we just looked around and see what was going on. Then everybody just hit the floor.
Kinkle was angry. Yesterday he was suspended after being caught at school with a handgun. Police arrested him and eventually handed him back to his parents. Now other parents want to know why.
I mean, why they let him out, I can't believe this. Somebody should be feeling pretty guilty about now.
How could this happen? You know, and now these children are suffering for it.
He was finally overpowered by 16-year-old Jake Riker, who was shot in the chest and the hand.
He just said, Mom, I'd do it again.
There was more to come. Police went to his home and found his parents had been murdered, apparently also victims of his rage. The 15-year-old killer had led a troubled life, and other students described him as a bully with a short fuse.
He was voted most likely to start World War III.
He always talked about how he hated everybody and how he was going to shoot the world, and he was a very violent kid.
One of his friends spoke to him just last night.
He was mad at himself. He knew he got himself in a bad situation, and was kind of worried how it would shame the family, I guess.
Again, another tragedy at an American school. Again, political leaders are saying something must be done to tighten gun laws. After 6 school shootings in 7 months, this might just be the year someone does something about it. Tonight, a prayer vigil in Eugene for the victims. More sorrow, more questions, people wanting to know why. In Eugene, Oregon, Robert Penfold for Nightline.
Lawyers for the brother of murdered nurse Yvonne Guilford believe the $1.7 million compensation could be handed over next week. One of the British nurses convicted of the killing today spoke publicly for the first time since her release, claiming she was tortured into making her confession.
After their chaotic arrival home yesterday, both British nurses are now in hiding, but have already begun work with the 2 tabloid newspapers who've paid $500,000 for their stories. Deborah Parry and Lucille McLaughlin claim they did the deal to prove their innocence. Today, Parry did give one interview for no payment, telling how it felt to be free after 17 months in a Saudi jail.
I won't believe I'm really free until I can prove that I'm completely innocent. Then I believe I'm free.
Parry said she knew nothing about the death of Yvonne Guilford, the South Australian nurse brutally murdered in the Saudi hospital where all 3 worked. In a BBC documentary, both nurses claimed they only confessed because Saudi police tortured and sexually abused them.
They were rubbing my thighs. I thought I would be raped by them all.
And at the end of about 4 or 5 days, it was easier to say that we'd done that.
But in South Australia's Jamestown, there's no sympathy from the Guilford family.
And I think it's all lies, and they're getting paid for telling lies.
They play on blood money on the death, aren't they?
They're dancing on Yvonne's grave.
While Frank Guilford is convinced the tide of public opinion is swinging firmly back his way, the public relations battle is far from over. While the British nurses are using the tabloids as a mouthpiece, it's understood the Guilfords will tell their story in a book.
You watch days of your lives and you'll know what I mean.
Is that what your life's like?
Well, it seems to be that way. One crisis after the other.
Philip Wilmington for Nightline.
There are mixed messages from Indonesia tonight as the country tries to come to terms with a new leader after 32 years of Suharto rule. On the surface, there are signs of normality returning. Travel agents say many return flights to Jakarta are fully booked with Indonesians and expatriates planning to go home. But the dust hasn't settled in the capital, with scuffles continuing tonight. Adrian Brown is in Jakarta.
Tempers flared outside Indonesia's parliament today as supporters and opponents of the new president came face to face. Soldiers, heavily outnumbered, struggled to keep the two factions apart. Up to 10,000 people now occupy the building and grounds around it. The regime's inner sanctum was the focal point for protests against Suharto, as they now are for his successor. The army could regain control of the parliament at any time, but has so far chosen not to. To ease the tension, soldiers laid down their weapons and broke into a spontaneous dance. Despite the continuing instability, President Habibie has indicated strongly that he wants to be a long-term leader. He's vowed political reform and a government free of corruption and nepotism. But he's given no timetable for elections. In his new cabinet, Suharto's daughter Tut is out, along with the former president's golfing partner, Mohammed Bob Hussein. While there are several from the old regime, some of them have been welcomed. Foreign Minister Ali Alatas and the Defence Chief Wiranto, a reflection of continuing Defence Forces support. And there are two ministers with tough reputations, in charge of economic coordination and mines and energy. The reaction from powerful Muslim leader Amin Rais was muted.
Saya saja, ya.
I am neutral, neither endorsing nor opposing the new cabinet.
The students were unimpressed.
The current cabinet is the same as Suharto's cabinet, so it's nepotism as usual.
And some analysts believe they'll remain impatient for results.
Between 3 to 6 months, but more 3 than 6.
It's clear that with powerful emotions still on display in the capital, the new president will have to ensure he gets it right first time. In Jakarta, Adrian Brown for Nightline.
The Maritime Union is tonight under attack on two fronts. Australia's competition watchdog has launched legal action, claiming the MUA has breached the Trade Practices Act. And Patrick's chief, Chris Corrigan, wants the MUA deregistered, a move union chiefs say is the desperate act of a desperate man. Laurie Wilson reports.
It's just the latest twist in what's shaping as a long legal saga. With the Maritime Union pressing conspiracy claims against Patrick Stevedores, the company has hit back. It wants the union deregistered.
We're being pursued in the Melbourne court for conspiracy, and we have every legal right to file a cross-claim considering the amount of damage that's been caused to our company and others.
There's absolutely no grounds for deregistration of the MUA. To be frank, I don't think there's anything serious in it whatsoever, and it's just another desperate act from a desperate man.
But while the ACTU's Greg Combet may place little store in the company's action, the MUA is also facing legal proceedings by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. The Commission believes there have been serious and continuing breaches of the Trade Practices Act, echoing Chris Corrigan's complaints against the Maritime Union.
Anti-competitive conduct, secondary boycotts, conspiracy by unlawful means, and unlawful interference in business and trade.
The Commission says the MUA appears to have been involved in continuing boycott activity, citing problems on the Newcastle wharves and in Adelaide. And Chris Corrigan claims nothing's really changed on the docks. He says they're still not operating efficiently.
Well, no better than they ever have, really, which isn't very well, quite frankly.
Laurie Wilson reporting for Nightline.
If there's one political nightmare Queensland Premier Rob Borbidge and opposition leader Peter Beattie have in common, it's another hung parliament, with Pauline Hanson's One Nation party holding the balance of power. But that's looking a distinct possibility, according to the first major opinion poll in the lead-up to next month's state election.
Still basking in the publicity generated by One Nation's state election launch, Pauline Hanson today received the best news of her political career. An exclusive National 9 News Courier Mail poll shows her party is now really taking off.
I'm not surprised, but I'm very grateful.
In 9 key marginal seats across Queensland, One Nation is averaging 18% support, compared to Labor's 36 and the Coalition's 30.
They've never had an opportunity to vote for anyone else, and they're seen as One Nation as a party that is espousing and voicing their concerns and issues that really concern the Queenslanders.
In some provincial electorates, One Nation's support has hit 30%. That's enough to win a number of seats and possibly the balance of power.
The concern with this survey is that I'll be plunging Queensland into a period of unprecedented political instability with a parliament that is totally unworkable.
For the opposition, One Nation is now just as much of a threat to Labor as it is to the Coalition.
If they do vote for One Nation, they will be voting for Joan Sheldon to remain as Treasurer and Rob Borbridge to remain as Premier.
The undeniable challenge for the major parties, just how to woo those clearly disillusioned voters who now look like shaping Queensland's future into the new millennium. All this music to the ears of the woman who's closing in fast.
One Nation, like I said, is going to give back a voice to Queenslanders in government.
Melanie Wendt for Nightline.
After the break, voting underway on the Northern Ireland Peace Accord and Frank and Shirley's very big lottery win.
This program proudly brought to you.
Streets despite Habibi's reform vow, and a nail biter as real State of Origin Rugby League returns.
From National 9 News, this is Nightline with Jim Waley.
By Pental Essences, turning your daily shower into a daily luxury.
America mourns as children again fall victim to a schoolboy's gun. Trouble still on Jakarta. Good evening. Shaken and shamed, America has again been confronted with a schoolyard shooting. A 15-year-old boy killing 1 student and wounding 23 others in the northwest state of Oregon. As well, the bodies of his parents were found in the boy's home. He'll be tried as an adult, but under state laws will not face the death sentence. Robert Penfold has our report.
A boy just 15 years old, heavily armed on the loose in a school and shooting to kill.